If you want to skip to the part where I start smashing things with hammers, I will insert the timestamp here, but be warned, some interesting facts might be missed. While I'm waiting for parts to arrive for the Ducati restoration, I've been stripping parts down in the background and found a whole host of problems. Broken, damaged or missing parts, snapped or in this case corroded bolts. So I thought I'd release a little hack video in the meantime that some people may not know about. How to remove hex or Allen bolts once you've had a go and partially or fully rounded the hex part. Probably, like I have, bent your Allen wrench in the process. To start off with, I'm removing the brake disc bolts from one of the wheels, so I know two things straight away. It probably has thread lock on there to make my job even worse, but also it's not been touched in a long time, so it's probably corroded. On its own, aluminium is quite corrosion resistant, strangely because it corrodes quickly when it comes into contact with oxygen, the dark grey surface you may be used to. But unlike with metals like steel, this oxide layer tends to be non-porous and actually stops more corrosion. However, when aluminium comes in contact with steel, a process called galvanic corrosion happens. Don't worry, this isn't going to be a science lesson, but effectively the alley sacrifices itself to protect the steel, despite no one asking it to. This process is made even worse in wet conditions, and if you've watched my other videos, you know this bike has been very wet for a very long time. And one of the front brake calipers was seized solid due to water pouring all over it for the last 13 years. Guess which of the two front brake discs became the reason for this video? Spoiler over, you guessed it, the one with water pouring all over it. The other side was actually quite easy to remove. We all know that hex bits or wrenches are quite easy to bend or snap, and if this happened, you can actually fit a Torx bit in there. It may mangle it up a bit as it can be a bit loose, but they do work in a pinch. Just avoid the security ones with a hole in the middle as they also snap easily. Talking about Torx bits, this is what I'm going to use to get these out. Originally this was a 6mm hex bolt and I'm going to use a T45 Torx bit. This is about 1mm larger on each of its splines than the original size of the hex slot. You'll need a hammer, an extension bar and obviously your Torx bit. With the extension bar fitted, mainly to save your fingers, align the splines with what's left of the corners of the hex slot. Hold the bit steady and with as much downwards pressure as you can to stop it bouncing, proceed to hit it a few times to dent the surface. Lift it away to check it's aligned correctly. It will try to align itself if it's not completely rounded. If it is completely rounded, consider using a slightly smaller Torx bit to create some guide notches. Smash the Torx bit in as far as you can, then remove the extension bar and apply blows around the edge of the bit, causing it to rock in the hole. This is to fit it in deeper. Once you've gone down as far as you can, remove the star bit. Inspect your beautiful modification. Then preferably with a ball-ended hammer, hit directly onto the hole. This will make an even tighter fit. And then hammer the Torx bit back in. And undo. The hammer blows should have also shocked the corrosion loose. If for some reason this doesn't work, you need to consider heating it up with a blowtorch or welding a nut onto it, which I'll cover another day. Also be slightly careful how hard you hit it, as alley is brittle, especially the cast stuff. Another way you might be able to remove it is with the chisel method. I tend to use a cheap carpenter's chisel as they tend to dig in better than normal chisels as they're sharper. And being smaller, they're more precise if you're worried about damaging other components or paintwork. Just be careful as the handles can smash quite easily and the sides of the chisel tend to be very sharp. This is more of a last resort as it takes more care and it will destroy your bolt. Not the most interesting video today, but I hope you learned something. And remember, smashing the end of a bolt, especially a hex bolt, is usually a good idea if you suspect it might be a pig to remove. It's better to ask for forgiveness for replacing a bolt because you dented it than because you got impatient, got your big beefy ugga dugga on it and snapped it. You may also have noticed that I've been using a small impact driver to take the bike to bits for that very same reason. Wasting 5 minutes now can save wasting hours later. So what other tips and tricks would you recommend to people with mechanics? Put it in the comments.